What's up, everybody? Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, and over the last week or so, this post from the president of Upper Deck has kind of picked up some steam, and although it is talking about sports cards, I think it could probably apply to Magic. Not an unpopular opinion, as we've seen it all over. And one of the big things that I have very much believed in and that I've talked about before on my channel is the affordability of Magic cards. I have espoused my disdain for it being used as an investment vehicle before. I have a video. I'll put the link in the description and in a pinned comment about the rising cost of Magic the Gathering and things like that. But let's get into it. So Jason here is the president of Upper Deck. It's a private company. They deal mostly in sports cards, is my understanding, but they do deal with some other cards. So he had a post on his LinkedIn that said, everything speculative is up right now. The stock market, Bitcoin, trading cards, and it's pricing some collectors out. Here's what the data shows. 50% of the consumer spending in the US is coming from just 10% of the population. Rich people are carrying the market, not just in cards, but across every category. Concert tickets, $1,000 for nosebleeds. Luxury goods, selling faster than ever. High-end collectibles, moving at record paces. When boxes cost $1,000 or more, you're not buying for fun anymore, you're speculating. And you're betting that what you buy today will be worth significantly more tomorrow. And that works until it doesn't. I think what he's saying is we're in a bubble. And that's pretty concerning coming from somebody whose entire company deals with the collectibles market, right? Sports cards have always been, had speculation built in. You collect a rookie, so like Magic cards right now have a lot of speculation, Pokemon cards, etc. But what's happening now is on a different scale. And when markets become this speculative, they become fragile. I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm saying we need to be honest about what's happening. This isn't sustainable growth driven by collectors who love the hobby. It is wealth concentration driving prices that most people can't participate in. And yes, 100% yes. And yes, he's talking about sports cards, but I think that this is a very important and very concerning thing happening in Magic. So until the recent past, Magic hasn't really seen like the scalper problem that that Pokemon had, right? And we had the reserve list buyout stuff. Like during COVID, reserve list cards got shot through the moon, and some of them have come down, but most are still insanely expensive. I attribute reserve list pricing being at least part of the reason that formats like Legacy have kind of like died out, right? Like, yes, there's still Eternal Weekends and stuff, but I can't go to a 5K because there's no tournament support for it, right? Nobody can afford $1,000 underground seas, right? If you're a new player wanting to play Legacy, unless there's proxies allowed, you probably aren't going to be able to get into it. And we just have an increasing amount of this system, right? We saw it with the Final Fantasy Collector Booster shooting up to $1,300. Which is, as I mentioned in the cost of Magic the Gathering video, that is as much as my monthly house mortgage payment, right? When a hobby becomes that much, and yeah, you don't have to buy the collector boosters, but even a standard booster box and even singles prices are getting pretty expensive, right? Something I kind of alluded to in a couple of my recent deck techs, like when I was trying to make budget builds, is it's been getting incredibly hard because there's a lot of staples that aren't even game changers, that are just good cards that are not seeing enough reprints, and so they get bought up and they get hoarded, and they just don't drop in price. And now, with us, I will say this about master sets. Yes, they were a little bit more expensive, but they were a good way to reprint a whole bunch of cards and bring down their prices. This system of the list and the bonus sheets and the alternate art things, that's not going to bring enough supply into the market to lower demand, right? And we are getting to a point where the average person cannot afford to get into the hobby in a meaningful manner. Honestly, I think this is the reason that Commander partially has done so well as it does. Yeah, there's the social aspect, but also Commander is incredibly approachable from a financial aspect. If you want to build on a budget, compared to, say, Standard, right? I've been following Standard. I haven't played Standard in a long time, but I've been following like VV Culture, and that deck's like $400, right? And then it's just going to eat the banhammer, as it should. But when a Standard deck's $400, and your modern decks, and then like God forbid you want to do Legacy, like I have a Legacy 12 post deck I've kept together for years. Now it doesn't have candelabras in it anymore because those are $1,000 a piece, but when we have this happening, it is a bubble. I'm a millennial, right? I've lived through a few of these financial times, and this for those of you who are young enough to not know or remember, this is what it felt like when I was first in college in like 2007, right? Like things just felt off and weird, and then you start seeing the normal people on Facebook or other social media, or the people personally talking about things getting harder to buy. That is the exact same thing that I saw right before the financial collapse in 2008. And this applies to hobbies. So back then it was the housing bubble. Now we have a housing bubble and auto bubble. We're going to go, even on the low end here, we have a trading card bubble, like a collectible bubble. And eventually it is going to burst. And we even see the microcosm of this with our secret layers, right? Because they're not print to demand. You see secret layers sell out nearly instantly sometimes, and then go up for thousands. And for me, I just want this hobby to be affordable for all people. And I mean all people, right? Like I do not care, nor will I judge somebody who is of a lower socioeconomic status than me because they just want to escape the realities of their material circumstances for a couple hours to enjoy a game with their friends. I will never shame them for that. I know you see a lot online of like, oh, why does this person have a fancy iPhone when they can't do this, and this? I'm not here to judge those people. I never will. It's not part of my personal philosophy, not part of any of my life philosophy. I'm a firm believer in that people's material circumstances should not dictate how much they get to enjoy life or have some form of escapism. And for a lot of people, myself included, magic is one of those escape mechanisms. But if it becomes to the point where the person can't afford to play, then what are they going to have for the escape mechanism after that, right? Life shouldn't just be about the grind. Life shouldn't just be about I go to work, I come home, I go to bed, I rinse and repeat, right? And I know this is kind of a rambling video, but this is something that I am very passionate about. I will always just speak from the heart on my channel, whether it's popular or whether it's not popular. But I do not want to continue seeing $1,000 plus collector boxes. I do not want to see continuing 170, 180 regular booster boxes, right? One other thing that I should... this is a good thing. And there are things that are... the good thing I'm going to mention here are things that some people are doing to combat this, right? So like on a micro level, combating scalpers. So one of my local game stores is awesome. They always sell sealed product at MSRP. I love them for it. I will always buy my sealed product from them for it. They are great. When I walk in there, friendly, asking how I'm doing, asking, how things have been, that sort of thing. I love it. And I am not going to say their name in this video, mostly because I don't want some scalper who might see this to go harass them. But they have a very clear policy with like pre-orders of booster boxes of different games, right? Whether it be Riftbound, etc. Is that they cut the seal. They cut it. And they say that very clearly on their site. They cut the seal. And that is deliberately to prevent scalpers from reselling. And they had a review that gave them a 1 star, ranting about how they cut the seal. And, God bless them. They gave the best comeback. They're like, this guy doesn't get it. And then that spawned a debate in the in the comments, and to be honest with you, the vast majority of people were like, people like me, like, hell yeah, do this, because this makes it so I can get a box sometime, or my friends can get a box sometime, or that kid who's getting into the game and wants to really likes Edge of Eternities or really likes the upcoming Avatar set can buy a box with and have it be in stock and not have to worry about like it getting bought out and resold for much more. There were a couple people who were like, I would be mad. I collect, and like, I collect Magic cards, right? Like I have piles here. Like this is just a stack of like Commander staples that I'm like using to like build some decks right now, because I perpetually build decks because I have a problem. But that's a great step. I think that another thing is that we need more print runs on the up end. If you flood the market, it makes it less desirable on the front end, right? Because that idea of scarcity. What we saw with Final Fantasy is that the product sold out immediately, which drove up prices, supply and demand, and all that in the capitalist market. But then with Spider-Man, we saw Spider-Man and Avatar spike, which I saw this, and kudos to MTG Goldfish. They brought it up on their podcast that like they saw that spike, and then we saw a crash with Spider-Man once we saw the card. So like there was speculation, and the speculation bubble on Spider-Man burst. It did, and it dropped down, and yeah, eventually it will go up in price because you have certain people in the world that are going to see, oh, well, nobody's opening up this set, so I'm going to buy up all of it, creating a shortage, and just sit on that until eventually, because nobody opened it, the chase cards inside of it, like the Soul Stone, becomes so expensive that people are willing to pay inflated prices. There's a larger channel on YouTube that specifically does this, like buys out a whole bunch of product and stuff like that, sits on it, ends up selling it for more. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. Like I'm worried not. The stuff with Universes Beyond getting printed and like stuff like that to me are issues in the game, but we can't even, those issues are moot if people cannot afford to play the game. And that is what I see as the most serious problem. And many people know this. I feel it, my wife feels it. Our paychecks are going a little less far every paycheck, right? I don't know what it's like for those of you in other countries. I should have my wife check with her sister in Korea and see what it's like there. But at least in the United States, things aren't going well. At least economically for us little folks, right? Like I'm working class, my wife's working class. I've talked about that before. And things are getting tight. And if things are getting tight for us and we make a decent amount of money, what are they like for the folks that, were already within the margins of society, right? Those people who maybe could only afford the $50 deck before, but now those cards that aren't getting reprints, that have the speculation behind them because of the licensing fees of Universes Beyond are more expensive, can't afford to play at all. And ultimately, Magic the Gathering is a hobby that every person should be welcome in. And I know that not everybody's going to agree with me. I get that. I get that there will be disagreement. I do. I get that there are the folks who are like, well, if I buy something, I want it to be worth more. And for me, I guess my brain just works a little differently. I guess the way my life philosophy on like the social contract and economics and things like that are different, because I think that when I buy a pack of Magic cards, I have the fun of opening them. I'm not chasing any real card, and that it's just going to be something that I can have for fun. And I think that the most important thing in this game is that it is accessible and affordable to everybody. I have said many times early on, especially on this channel, that Magic very well may have saved my life. I was a very sad kid growing up. Didn't have a lot of friends. rough time. But Magic brought me friends. Magic brought me happy memories. Going to those 5Ks and stuff like that back when Legacy was affordable. And to tell you, I wasn't a rich kid. Oh God, no friends. My family was not part of the haves. That is for sure. And I worked at my job. My first job was at a movie theater, and working for $5.15 an hour. That was what minimum wage was back in the day. And now imagine if that were still minimum wage for $5.15 an hour. Couldn't even afford a booster pack now. I mean, hell, minimum wage is $7.25 an hour now. And like one of the local gaming stores around me was selling regular booster packs of the standard set for Final Fantasy for $9.50. One was selling them for $12. And if you're a kid wanting to play your hobby, they're like, "Oh, go out and get a job and do that." Well, if you're a kid working a minimum wage job, you're probably thinking about saving up for your college, saving up for a car. Is the more than 1 hour of your life spent going to be worth that pack of Magic cards? And that's something that people, I think, on a subconscious level, but that's what I always talk to people about, like friends and people at work, is how many hours of your life does something cost you? And how many hours of your life are you spending to make that money to then spend hours of your life on something else? And for me, Magic has been worth the hours of my life. Just like I collect military antiques. That stuff, preserving history, enjoying history, has been worth hours of my life. Buying a million stuffies for my daughter has been worth hours of my life. But at what point in time does the hours of your life spent become too much for Magic the Gathering, right? And I don't want to see the hobby hurt. I want to continue to see Magic be there for those kids. When I see new players learn Magic, it is one of the greatest things, but we need to have Magic be affordable. And so there has to be some kind of way that we can kind of prepare ourselves for when the bubble eventually bursts, because it will. And like I said, I've lived through probably, I think it's 3 recessions at this point in time. We got the COVID one, the 2008 one, and the 2000 .com crash recession. And heck, there might have been one around the time I was born. Yeah, like 4 recessions in 36 years of life, Markets ebb and flow. It is the nature of capitalism. And I would just, this is not official financial advice, but if you're somebody who's just, thinking maybe I can make my quick buck by investing in these, it's risky, friends. It's risky. Buy it for the hobby. Buy it because you love it. Buy it because you enjoy playing. Don't do something that could put you in a situation. And at the end of the day, we got to watch out for each other. Like myself and my friends, like my friend Mitch, he wanted an Eddie Brock card from Spider-Man, and I did open a couple boxes just to see what's what about the set, and I got an Eddie Brock. Now, am I going to trade him for that, or am I going to charge him the 20 or whatever it is for it? Nah, I'm just going to give it to him. It is what it is. I'm just going to give it to him. And that's just how, like, my thought process is with my friends. Like, hey, it's, as long as it's not a card that, like, is something I absolutely need, right? I'll give it to you. I don't care. It like, I would rather have my friend have the card that they need to play than not. But yeah, sorry for the rambling video. Let me know what you think about the current state of, Magic. Let me know how the current economy has impacted your ability to enjoy your hobbies. I know I'm priced out of a lot of World War II firearms right now, but that I could start a whole nother channel for that. Like I said, I collect military antiques and I collect World War II firearms. And those prices have skyrocketed. in like even in the last 5 years. It's not just cards, friends. I promise you, it's not just cards. Military memorabilia also is doing it. And so I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the current market. You think it's speculative? You think that it's just going to keep going up? If you're struggling, what's that mean for you and your hobbies? But I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there and keep loving magic.